After building this container house alone off-grid and with no experience for 18 months, it finally became time to start on finishes. The first stage was installing these giant timber posts that I milled myself from trees that had to be felled on my property due to fire regulations. And then I bought all this steel framing to install my walls and my ceilings, but my plumber said, stop, hold up. He said he needs to come visit first to do the first plumbings on my house before I can install anything inside. So I've been stuck in limbo. So I had to pivot, and the second stage became completing the under roof section of my skillion roof. But I had a little problem. I wanted to install latte poles under there until I saw the price. I would need 12 bundles at $479, which is a whopping $5,748. And this is a budget build, so I had to get creative. And it didn't take very long. As I looked around my property, I realized my whole bushland property is filled with eucalyptus trees, which is exactly what they use to make latte poles. And I had a lot that have just fallen or are dying, and that had to be cleared anyway. So I picked up my stone and hit 2 birds getting my latte poles and also clearing the dying trees as I went. And it didn't take me very long to realize why latte poles are so expensive when I started processing them. Not only are they very high quality timber, but they have layers and layers of bark, which means a couple of weeks of debarking, a month to dry, and 3 weeks of sanding time. So the processing time can be well over 2 months, and that's if nothing goes wrong like this. Oh my gosh, I've made a major mistake. I measured from pole to pole, which is correct for the middle, not correct for the sides. Far out, Brussels sprout. Unfortunately, I left you off with my biggest stuff up on this build to date, which was cutting the latte poles too short to go beam to beam, but also to overhang this section here. So this week I'm solving the problem, and that means bringing the welder and cut-off saw out of retirement and installing some more steel. Let's get to it. I've got the 2 middle screenings down. Lucky for me, I don't have to take them down the entire way, so that took all of about 10 minutes. I've got this one down here and that one hanging there, and then I can still get to the post to weld in these extra steel beams. So now I just got to measure it up, go downstairs, cut some steel. I had to get 3 sets of measurements. I'm gonna have to be adding 3 different rows of beams, which equals 9 extra sections of beams. And I do not have many steel beams. I do have some giant 90 by 90 SHS steel posts, but I really don't want to use those if I don't have to, because these sections of steel that I'm putting in now, they don't got to be pretty. They don't got to be that strong. I just don't want them to be bendy, because the poles are bendy. So they just need something to attach to that is not that bendy. But the poles are pretty light, so they don't need something overly strong. So if I can use my smaller sections of off-cut steel, then that will benefit me a lot more. And that will mean that I can use these giant, I've got like 4 8-meter posts of 90 by 90. And I would love to keep those for a different project if I can and not chop them up, because it would just be a complete overkill. So right now I'm in Offcut City. I've got all these offcuts here, which is actually fantastic for me because I am someone that loves using every little piece of material I can and not letting any go to waste. And I'll weld all these lengths together, and then I'm gonna cut those lengths to size. And what I should be left with is hopefully 9 extra steel beam sections to install up onto my roof for these latte poles to be installed onto. Now there's a lot of math to this. There's a lot of math because I'm having to change up everything. I originally was just having 3 sections, with 2 being the same size and 1 being longer. That has to change now, and it has to be 4 sections. One of those is going to be very long, and then I was gonna have 2 the same, like same as before, and then just add about, it was like 70 centimeters I needed extra of pole. But on having the weekend to think about it, I have reconsidered, because I feel like having 1 row of like only 70 centimeter long latte poles is gonna look very out of place. So instead, I'm making the 3 last rows a bit more similar in size. So 1 is going to be slightly longer, but then I'm having 2 that are exactly the same size. But I've had to work this out around all the poles that I already had cut to size, as well as the sections of roof beams that are already there. And wow, it's been a lot. It's been a lot, but I have to get this correct for many reasons. I don't want to redo it. I don't want to cut the latte poles to the wrong size, and I don't want to waste any more steel and have to go get more steel. I do, which I'm really excited about, have one of my cars fixed. Thank goodness. But it is just the Delica. The Delica cannot pull my tiny house trailer. It doesn't have enough power. The trailer itself is 1 ton. So it's quite heavy. I really want to get this right the first go, because this is already a setback. Like, I was already hoping to be finished by now. So this whole thing is a setback. And so, yeah, I went over those measurements a zillion times just now. I think I've got them. Can never be too sure, but I'm pretty sure. It is an absolutely gorgeous day. So I am on cloud 9 and I've got everything crossed that this works. I have my posts all welded up. I'm going to clean the welds, spray them to protect them. Then I'm going to measure and cut them to size so they are correct to be my new beams upstairs. I am so glad I had enough steel, otherwise it would have been its own problem. Okay. I have, whoa, dropped it. I have my poles, got a few more here. I've got them all ready to go up and be welded into place. I painted the majority of them just like when I put my big beams up, because they're way too hard to paint like when they're already up there. So if I just get the majority done, then it's not too hard to get those last little bits after I've welded them into place. No idea how this is gonna go. We love surprises around here though, don't we? So it should be interesting. I'm obviously gonna start with the beam that is going at the end of those ones there. And then obviously the next latte poles will start from there. What I'm planning to do to get these beams into place, because they are way heavier than the latte poles, obviously. Even though they're not that long, it's steel, you know, it's steel, it's heavy. So I'm gonna try use the same tactic that I'm using to get the latte poles up, which is put the 2 straps on either end, try get them through the straps, and then try clamp them into place so that I can weld them on. There's 3 sections, so there's gonna be 1 section here to that beam, another section to the next beam, and then a tiny little section at the front, times 3. Once I get this first row in of 3, I can then put up the rest of my latte poles in this row, make sure everything's working correctly. Then I'm gonna move along, take down some more screening, put in my next row, put in my next row. Hopefully not have to take down more screening, but I may have to take down more screening. I'm hoping I only have to take down like 2 rows of screening. And yeah, hopefully it all goes to plan, I guess. You know me, I love a bit of welding, so this shouldn't be too painful. Apart from getting the steel up, of course. These are just in my way, they're not working at all. And my clamps are not fitting in here. This is a problem. I wonder if the blue clamps will fit. But it doesn't look like it. Yeah, no, they definitely won't fit either. Maybe I can far out, rust sprout. Okay, this definitely isn't working. Shit. How am I gonna do this? Wonder. Ooh, I don't know. I can try weld that end on first. The only reason this is staying right now is because I've got the other latte poles up here. Okay, this probably is gonna go terribly. It's almost about to fall. I don't have it secured. It's literally just sitting on top of the latte poles. The grounding barely reaches. And I'm gonna have to try hold it while I weld it. Yeah. This shall be interesting is all I can say. Oh, I've just had an idea. Maybe I can like weld on something else for these to sit on or something. Maybe that's what I'll have to do. Not sure what, but I'm sure I can like whip up some kind of like bracket or something maybe. If this doesn't work, that's what I'm gonna do. Oh, this is proving so hard to get into. How am I gonna do this? Yeah, no, this is just not working out at all. It's falling and I've got no hands. Oh shit. Oh, I can die. I'm just wasting time trying to do it like this. I'm gonna need something that can hold it in place because this is definitely not working. I'm gonna have to come up with a solution. I guess I'm gonna have to make some kind of bracket that I guess sits on the top or something. Well, bummer. Okay, team, this is gonna be impossible without some handmade brackets. This is my mocker, something to this effect. Problem is, all the beams, because they're offcuts, are different sizes. So I can't really make a bracket to fit just one beam. It needs to be able to fit all of them, so it can't be exact. But I'm thinking something along the lines of this. So this is gonna go over the beam at the top that's already in place, and then I can sit the beam that I'm installing into this part here. However, it is gonna need a little bit of modification, and I need to find some more steel offcuts to do another one, because obviously I'm gonna need two. So I think I'm gonna pivot because it is the end of the day, it's getting freezing, the sun's, I can't see the sun because it's all grey and there's so many clouds. That's autumn for you. But I want to try utilize this time as best as possible because I really do need to get this done this week. So what I can do now is I've got my latte poles. I've got my beams already in place here. I've still got about 5 latte poles to install on this row that I've already started on. So I'm going to pivot. I'm going to install the rest of my latte poles instead of installing the beams today. So the latte poles are easy. Latte poles are very simple. So I'm going to install the last 5, I believe, along this section here. That means I'll have 1 row completed. I'll only have 3 rows left to do, as well as the 3 rows left of beams to install. But I should be okay to make my brackets in the morning and then test them out when I actually have those latte poles in place as well, so that I can put the beams on top of them. So that means grabbing the impact driver and the drill and my tech screws and getting in these last 5 latte poles on this row. Adaptability, baby, adaptability.
Take my time, dear.
is that time of the morning, team. It's time for my AG1 morning drink. I fear that I've become a little bit obsessed with this little drink and process every morning. In a couple of weeks, I will have been drinking my AG1 drink every morning for a quarter of a year, and it has really changed my days in the best way possible. AG1 is the daily health drink that supports whole body health. And well, it basically helps you feel your best every day. I used to be an energy drink and soft drink queen, downing energy drinks and soft drinks all day long as I worked to try and get me through the day. But now this is all I need to support my energy the entire day. Just one scoop in the morning with between 250 to 350 mils of chilled water. And it contains over 75 high quality ingredients in that one simple scoop. And even if you aren't like me and you've been living a healthy lifestyle, it can be incredibly hard to reach all the daily requirements for nutrients. So AG1 helps to fill those common nutrient gaps. AG1 doesn't just help with filling nutrient gaps and supporting whole day energy. It also delivers 5 strains of scientifically proven probiotics that support your gut health. And it contains your daily dose of essential nutrients and vitamins to support your immune health. Through the link in my description below, you can get 10 free AG1 travel packs and an AG1 welcome kit worth $114 with your first subscription order. I had to complete over 35 hours of sanding these poles last week, and that's why there was no weekly vlog, because I think you guys have seen enough sanding to last a lifetime, as have I. But they are done and looking stunning, and now I get to get them varnished and installed. What took the longest was waiting for these poles to dry, and that's an extremely important step for many reasons. If I were to install these poles green, which is what wet timber is called, it would lead to shrinkage, which would cause movement in my fasteners. The poles could warp and bend and not be in the correct position, and that would lock in all the moisture and cause fungal growth and mold to occur, and all my hard work would be lost. So I spent the evening getting the last of the latte poles up onto the rooftop deck, and also taking down another row of screening where I'm also going to be adding more beams, and then finally just getting in my last row of latte poles, which are the longest ones I have, and hopefully I can wake up fresh and bright tomorrow morning, ready to find me some flat bar steel to make my brackets and hopefully install these steel beams with a little less hassle. Woo! Finally, I have my first row in, kind of. There is a couple more things that I need to do, including one minor medium-sized problem. So I still need to, of course, pull it all tight. So basically, to each pole, I'm gonna be like pulling the screening tight to it, because there's still like, as you can see, kind of sags along the way. There's an overlapping just here, which I'm gonna cut off once I've pulled it all tight. I'm gonna be attaching it with wire to the latte poles so that's pulled nice and tight and the screening is securely in place. However, I am going to need a couple more poles, which is very sad. I need one that goes behind this post right here at the front to get pulled tight, but I'm also going to need one that sits along the container that screening is attached to there and pulled tight. I'm also going to need the same along the back though. But since the back is in no way connected to the front and you can't see the back from the front, vice versa, I can use the shorter poles as well for the back. But now I need to make my oopsie daisies, GoPro died. So a couple more poles needed on this side for sure. Can still pull them tight to the poles that I've got, but definitely over time, gonna need more. However, now I'm moving on to making my bracket. So my idea with these brackets is the steel post should be able to sit nicely in there. Can't tell you how much easier it is to work than steel, than timber. And like, if I had been using steel, cutting these latte poles too short wouldn't have been an issue at all. Steel is very forgiving when you know how to weld, whereas timber, not so much. However, in my opinion, I love the look of timber a lot more than steel. And my plan for this house is you won't be able to see any steel basically when I'm completed. It's gonna be mostly all covered in timber and natural materials. The steel's just gonna be the bones of the house. Let's go pop them up over the beams and make sure they're gonna work, and then hopefully I'll get the beam in place and weld my first beam in, fingers crossed. Can't really do this in welding gloves, but fingers crossed. Yes. I have done it. The brackets are not pretty, but they are practical. Can you see? I will get closer. In this piece it does need to go back a bit because two beams are getting connected down there. But also back it up here too. Thank goodness. Okay. Now I can weld my little heart out and hopefully it's not as difficult. And I think I've just discovered something too. Let's confirm together. I think, let's have a look. We don't want to fall forward, but let me have a look-sees. Oh, can I have a look-sees down here? Hang on, you guys look for me. Can you see? I can't see, but can you see? There may be, I actually do have more poles that I hadn't sanded yet because I didn't think that I would need them. And I'm hoping there's a couple long ones in there, because if I've got a couple long ones in there, then bam, I'm sorted for this section over here. So fingers crossed. You guys probably already know now. Let's get to welding. Oh my gosh. Just got it tagged so I can go to that end and put it correctly into place and make sure that all these poles here line up with it so that they can be secured to it. Gosh, it's too short. I need to put the welder on something. Do not doll it up. Oh my gosh, that's a good feeling. I would have a little boogie with some music. People keep reporting me for copyright, so I can't do that anymore. Bugger. But if you can just imagine the music. Woo. We are on. We are staying. Yes to the brackets. This is going to be a long process, so let's put you guys on time lapse.
Played all my cards, and I'm all out of luck. Put my money in the jackpot, but I guess it's falling through. At least I still have you. Every day is a brand new day. All my life I've been searching for the right way to keep my head above the clouds, to keep myself from looking down. It's harder than you think to live our days in happiness or worry about what happens next. It's harder than you think to be.
Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so I've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to do. But I just wanted to stop and mention something because a few people have said, aren't you worried about fire risk? And I have mentioned that the bones of this house are all completely steel, all the structure of it. So I've got no worries for fire risks and it's extremely unlikely. But I've also sealed all of these, as I'll be sealing the decking as well. And don't know if you just noticed, but I was just welding on top of those reeds. Welding directly above it. All the sparks were falling onto those reeds. And that shows I do not have to be worried about fire risk or anything, because a lot of people are saying, oh, one spark and those things are going to go up. So there you go, to set your mind at ease, one spark and they will definitely not go up. You would have to hold a bloody blowtorch to it, I reckon, to make it go up. Even if you did, it's reed, like it would burn out quite fast, just like dry grass does. So even if they all went up, fell onto the deck, very unlikely that the deck would catch fire from that because it's not like it burns long and hard. Not only would it take a long time to set the jarrah on fire, but I've also sealed the jarrah decking boards with xanthria resin varnish, which is fire resistant. So that whole thing happening would just be, yeah, very, very unlikely. I think you would literally have to come, pour petrol on the deck first, take a blowtorch to the reed, have it all go up in flames, all drop onto the deck, and then it might burn. But still, in that case, the bones would still be here. The bones of this building are not going to burn. They are all steel. So I just wanted to set your mind at ease if that was something you're worried about. I haven't mentioned it because it's not something that has concerned me at all. But yeah, I just thought that was a great example then of just me welding directly onto the reeds and all the sparks flying on them. You know what goes up faster than that? Plastic. Plastic goes up a lot faster than that. The only thing that I've ever had catch fire on this deck is the tarps. So, there you go. Bloody brilliant. Let's weld her up, eh? There's my bloody blanket. There it is. Woo. Hopefully, hopefully. Don't move. Far out, Brussels sprout. You weren't even turned on. Of course. Just saying, I've just welded that one. Now I'm going to paint it before I move everything. Oh, blimey. Bother me. I've got to have heard every true crime story there is now. It's all I listen to when I work. Can you guys see here? Oh my golly. Putting up that beams, what an experience. That's definitely one of the hardest ones I've done in the books, for sure. That was not an easy job, connecting beams that heavy underneath. It was way easier to do the 8-meter ones that are on top because I actually could put them on top of the posts that were already there or on top of the beams that were already there. And it made the whole process a lot easier. It was one length. Literally just got it into place, welded in, bam, it's done. These beams were so much harder, but I am past the hard part now. It is completed. And now I kind of feel like I get to get back to that stage where I was at. Now I get to put all these screens back up that I have taken down and then finally start on all the rest of the latte poles. I do have that one row in, and downstairs I do have 2 more long ones, which means I can actually complete that row how I wanted to with 2 extra ones. Dogs are going nuts with the sticks. Let's get these screenings back up so I can feel like I'm back at the stage that I was at, and then let's get the rest of the latte poles in. I am terrified about these latte poles because I do have to cut them down smaller. So what I'm going to do is I'm literally going to cut them one by one. They should all be the same size. I'm so worried I could get it wrong. So literally I'm going to measure each section where they need to go and cut them one by one. It is the safest way to do it to make sure they definitely fit. So let's get this screening up. It is a gorgeous day today, which always makes me a lot happier.
You wanna be when you grow up, doesn't matter that much as long as you're tough. Mama said what you wanna be when you grow up, doesn't matter that much as long as you're tough. Say you wanna be a spaceman playing.
I have got the rest of my screening back up where it was before. First port of call is I still haven't secured the ends of these to the new beam that I've put in place. I'm going to do that now, and I also still haven't pulled out the screening nice and tight and secured it to all these poles, which is what I want to do as well, so that it's in place and it's got its final look. Oh my goodness. I have just looked down the stairwell, and guess what I see? Does anyone spot anything down there? Don't know how long she has been there. Is it because all the birdies are here and you know they drop the gum nuts? Is that why? Are you okay? I love you, but I'm going to come get you out now. You see all that dust you're sitting on? Yeah, it's not good. I love you. Let's install the rest of these latte poles.
Seems to want it a lot, and if the right eye see you shoot straight to the top of the floor whenever things get rough. Why you gotta be tough? Yeah, you gotta be. Mama said what you wanna be when you grow up, doesn't matter that much as long as you're tough.
And what my heart wants is the entire underneath of this roof absolutely filled with them. Absolutely filled. Like, and you still probably will be able to see a little bit of screening underneath, which I think will tie in great, because I think I would also like to put screening maybe on the sides with more latte poles. But that's what my heart wants. And so I'm thinking yeah, my heart is just saying, who gives a f*** how long it takes? Who gives a f***? Like, this is your build. This is your dream house. This is what you want. And I think that's what I'm going to have to do. I think I'm going to have to, just like the decking. The decking is the exact same situation. I want Jarrah decking. It is gorgeous. It is the best quality. It is just going to be beautiful and fantastic, but it is a bloody long process, as we know. I have not even completed all the decking for the wraparound deck. I've got enough for up here, and I've got enough for some of the wraparound deck, and I have been doing some milling in the background, but they're all still drying. It's all a really, really long process, and I'm just sitting here thinking there's going to be times that comes, like right now, where I'm waiting for the plumber and there's other things that I cannot do. Then bam, I move on this stuff. It's what I do, because I just keep looking at and going, I want the entire thing filled with them. That's what I want. That's what I want in my heart. And the only thing stopping me from getting that is me being not willing to do all the hard work. But that's what I want. That's what I want. And so I think I just got to put in the hard yards and just get it done, because can you even imagine, like, just the entire underneath filled with these gorgeous latte poles? It would look so good. So good, so good, so good. And I think that's what I've got to do. Whoa, 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 whoa. It is looking insane, insanely good. Feeling more and more in love with it by the second. And I'm almost done. There is not much left to go. And as you can see, I found the longer pieces that I need. I was balancing on the edge of angle iron then. Anyway, I found the longer pieces that I need. Wolf, could you please be quiet for a sec? Also, I want your ideas, because the parts, guys, the dogs are at that time of the day where they're playing. I can't believe how early it's getting dark now. But yeah, I really want your ideas, because I'm thinking, like, I don't have to, but the sections where the beams are, where I've screwed in the latte poles, What I would like to do, I reckon, is add something. Like add something that contrasts, if you know what I mean. Like a different color. I'm thinking maybe something just like a thin strip of timber along there or something, and like also to hide the screws, I guess. Not that they stick out that much, but I do think it would be really pretty to have like a contrasting color, like either timber or perhaps even metal, like caution steel type effect. But then also tomorrow I have a pretty tricky job, which is connecting all the bits around the sides and the backs. I need to like see how the screening hangs down below the latte poles there. So there I need to attach it to something, but I also need to add the offcuts along there so that they match this part here. So I'm gonna have to create heaps of offcuts for there. I mean, I've got offcuts, but I'm gonna have to cut them to size. This has been the longest journey. I am so glad I'm close to the finish line because I was worried for a while there, you know. I was quite worried. Wasn't sure if I'd backed myself into a corner there, but we got there in the end. There's always a way out. Sometimes you just got to make it yourself. And that's a bloody wrap. The latte poles are installed, including the offcuts on the back edges of my skillion roof. The screening is sprayed and protected and secured in place along the top of my second story with steel flat bar. And as much as I love it, I know I'll love it twice as much if I completely fill it with more latte poles and some form of straps along the beams to break it all up. So that's the future goal for this roof. But for now, she's gorgeous, she's secure, and she's protected. And most importantly, I can move on to the next stage of the build. As always, thanks for spending time with me, legends, and I will see you next Sunday.